Welcome back. With us now over the phone to discuss this important topic is Dr. Magdy Allam, the environmental and climate change expert and official. Good morning, Dr. Allam.
Morning.
What is the importance of holding COP28 conference regarding the current repercussions of climate change?
It's actually a milestone all over the way of the adaptation and accommodation of the climate resilience for the actually acute disasters that we are facing in our planet due to the global war. So actually the Minister of Environment, Dr. Fuad, is already congratulating the Emirates Arab for this successful story of the 28 COP of 28. So this actually achievement of the Arab states, not only the Emirates only, and in building on our successful story of the Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt also. So in Expo City in Emirates, actually during the duration of 30 November till 12 December, was attended with 197 state representatives of all the categories representing the countries and also the major companies, which has a role in the finance or the green finance that we are all expecting this. So Dr. Fuad also in her speech and referred to the commitment of the Emirates Presidency to continue also the positive outputs of Emirates conference, not only collecting the various and maybe some of them the views of different views in some countries, but also the major stream of the coalition of the partners was successfully achieved by the Emirates Agreement finally in their final version declaration. Also, the Minister of Environment, Dr. Fuad, we can refer during the Sharm el-Sheikh, we were so honorable with the results achieved by the collective groups and sectors of the financial funds, and also the establishment for the first time and after a long time to try to achieve this. We did finally achieve in Sharm el-Sheikh this fund for the support of the various, especially African and South America countries. And this also, we are building on the adaptation and the mitigation of this conference successful in cooperation between the massive groups, not only for more security for the funds, but also for more support for the poor countries, especially in the Africa and that countries. The Green Fund, one of the main tools that we are looking for more support for the African and South America countries, but also there is a full respect for the continuation and the commitment of the leadership of Emirates also and the partners of the different countries to try to cover the gap of the finance requested for the two continents in Africa and South America. So the real achievement also for the adaptation leads also a continuation of the guidance with the justice concept and fair equation between the different countries, not only for the rich countries and avoiding the poor countries like the 12 countries that we have in our African countries, but also the developing countries have the right for more sustainable development and poverty alleviation, which is actually the main goal of the COP seminars and conference all over the period that we started in 1992. Minister Fuad also in Dubai in COP28 also assured the more development of the outputs of Sharm el-Sheikh COP27, which is actually making the way well for more decisions achieved by the decisions also and the presidents and the representatives of the major companies and the representatives also of the main sectors of energy. especially the fossil fuel energy, and also the parallel new and renewable energies, which must reach one point of cooperation to really achieve the agreement of Emirates. Also, in another way, we were actually noticed that for more than 3 months before the conference, there were a good and effective Egyptian activities being done by the Minister of Environment, Dr. Yasmin Fouad, through informal negotiations with the representatives and actually the company leaders also from different areas from the 5 continents. The Ambassador Mohammed Nasri, the Manager of the Climate Change and the Environment and Sustainable Development in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs also, and he is also the leader of the negotiations of the climate with Egypt and Africa to achieve a coalition and actually acceptance and approval of the climate finance activities and also the maneuvers and the mechanisms of this finance, which actually reflecting the intention of the Egyptian government and all the sectors in Egypt to support the climate resilience and the climate adaptation issues. Actually, the Minister of Environment of Egypt also assured and support the Emirates Declaration for the Climate Resilience, which actually including a lot of actions to accelerate the climate resilience and climate adaptation globally, not locally only, and of course depending on the global evaluation of the climate change starting in 2023. So the agreement of the partners is a real achievement in this point after a long time of negotiations, especially for the decisions related to the mitigation and adaptation and finance mechanisms. Among this is the Altera fund, which is actually developed for the climate support funds, and also to innovate and also provoking the investment of the climate actions all over the countries, and especially the 2 continents of Africa and South America, which are actually main affected by the GHG emissions, but also in spite of the fact that Africa, for example, and also maybe the South America is not producing such a lot of greenhouse gases, but those greenhouse gases are mainly issued by the European and American and South Asian, especially China. And in this context, actually, the balance and the justice between the 2 continents in Africa and South America are so poor and are so actually negatively impacted by the GHG, the greenhouse gases, which actually initiated the global warming of the world nowadays. In this context, actually, those countries in South America and in Africa have no role in the greenhouse emissions loading, but actually the loading of the GHG are made mainly by the United States of America, the Europe, and maybe also the China and South countries of Asia, but not the Africa and the South America. Africa, for example, their GHG or greenhouse gases not exceeding 4% of the total greenhouse gases, and despite the fact that the 20 countries of petrol and fossil fuel are the more rich and are the more have the more funds for developing countries, but not actually through a designed, agreed system of finance that we now achieved in Emirates One, which is actually a real successful for funding the Africa and South America countries.
Right. The Minister of Environment reiterated that COP27 that was held last year in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, paved the way for important decisions, with the Loss and Damage Fund launch being the most significant achievement. How have the outcomes of COP27 impacted the success, or added to the success, or paved the way to the success of the COP28 that is held this year in UAE?
Actually, it was a real successful after a long time of failure, because we are for more than 27 years and 27 cycles of trying to achieve for the Loss and Damage Fund, but we failed for those 27 years to achieve this. Till Egypt is starting to lead the Sharm el-Sheikh COP27. At that time, only the first time all over the negotiations of 27 years, we succeed finally to accept on the idea and the concept of establishment of Loss and Damage Fund. So this is actually a real success for the Egyptian government and the Egyptian rule, supported by the African and South America countries, to achieve the acceptance of approving the Loss and Damage Fund, which is actually a real turnover in the way of achieving more collaboration and cooperation between the poverty and the rich countries all over the continent. But actually also it is the first time that Egypt also extended the time of the COP27 for more 2 days extra, to try to achieve and to have this decision clear that there must be an establishment of a box, especially fund for loss and damage. Without this effort of the Egyptian government and partners, and also the supporters of the Africa and countries and Latin America or South American countries, also this was the way that we have a global coalition between the states of those two continents, as actually to approve the Loss and Damage Fund. And the Loss and Damage Fund nowadays is the main tool of supporting the finance of the climate resilience, as we see that the amount of finance agreed by the Emirates countries also, and all the partners that have a share also to add more funds. This is a way that starts by the Egyptian leader here in Sharm el-Sheikh, and our brothers also in Emirates start to continue on this fund. And nowadays the fund is true, and the fund is a reality. And the fund nowadays is ready to start to make the loans and funds for the Africa and the South America, in addition to all the continents, of course.
Right. How do you assess the significance to commit to combating the climate change in accordance with the Paris Agreement?
Actually, it was a long time from Paris Agreement till the COP28 to start to apply the recommendations of the every year outputs of meetings, of the COP meetings. And finally, there may be some hope that we are looking for to achieve those ambitious items to continue for the adaptation and the mitigation. Because we have two problems. One of them is the technology itself. We must transfer from the fossil fuel for their negative impacts on the environment. And the fossil fuel is mainly depending on the petrol and also the coal. And to avoid the petrol and the coal to be used as the main energy, we must transfer all of our technologies into the solar and the new and the renewable energy sources of energy, which is actually not an easy one. And for example, till now, we cannot rely on the solar energy in the major manufacturer factories. This is so difficult because we need to have more than 300 degrees to start to use with the steel or the other heavy metals. So we cannot use with the solar energy with such heavy metals, either in iron or aluminum, or the other major industrial facilities cannot be operated nowadays, till now, with the solar energy and the new and renewable energy like the wind energy, biomass energy, biogas energy. Those kinds of energy can give you a temperature of maybe 300 maximum degrees. But the steels and the aluminum and all the maybe the fertilizers and the pesticides and all the chemical products and the steel products cannot be achieved without the degrees that exceeding the 500 degrees of temperature at least, which is not available in technology all over the world till now.
Right. How will the historic milestone that was reached during COP28 by the world leaders, which is a transition away from fossil fuels that jeopardize the people and the planet, how will it change the face of Earth?
It will completely change the face of Earth, of course, because even gradually will get rid of the fossil fuel and petroleum and kerosene and all of those kinds of fossil fuel sources, to transferring it to a new era. Nowadays, Egypt, for example, has 4 agreements with 4 major companies of what's called the green energy or the blue energy. And this green energy and the blue energy is mainly depending on the seawater so as a source, and we are taking the seawater and to divide it into hydrogen and the oxygen, and we are taking the hydrogen in special ways to be only the main sources of new energy. So it's only hydrogen. It's H2O of the water. We are taking the hydrogen out of the oxygen, and we are taking this hydrogen as a new clean energy. And this is actually the shift that is being done by the Egyptian government, because it is the first government to start to implement the green and the blue energy, which is depending completely on seawater, not fresh water. And actually the separation of the oxygen and the hydrogen is the way that we are nowadays have tanks of the hydrogen to be connected to the sea water. I mean, to go to the other like countries like Greece, like the Italian and all the countries of the Mediterranean, because we have the technology of the petrol gas. That we are having this connection, the network of this gas through two or three stations in our Mediterranean coast, and this is the way that Egypt has maybe only all over the world having this facility to do this.
Right, Dr. Magdy Allam, the environmental and climate change expert. I'd like to thank you so much talking to the Breakfast Show.